How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews. Packed a little bit of Phantom up in this piece. Phantom Brewing, mind you. In the form of their Asylum Ale. This be a 5% West Coast IPA. Kind of excited. Really curious to see how this one comes off. So, this comes courtesy of my boy, Steven. Or Stefan. Whichever one you want to call him. Pop this thing all the way so you don't pour it like a dum-dum. Fucking idiot. Why you people watch, I have no idea. Anyway, he sent this off with a bunch of beers from this brewery. This is the second one I am drinking from the ones that he sent off. The first one, not my kind of beer. Let's put it that way. It came off a little bit different than what I expected based off of the style. These all probably all go up around the same time, so you'll see. But now we're on to this one. Label-wise, I'm not going to sit here and say I love Phantom's labels. They're a little bit, I don't know, something. Not my favorite style of artwork. As far as the beer goes, it looks all the part of a subtly hazy, basically an unfiltered kind of West Coast kind of IPA. 2 fingers of a gigantic head because this guy pours, well, he didn't pop the top all the way properly, so that's my fault more than the beer itself. And it's got this kind of, that rich orange amber glow that you'd expect from a West Coast IPA. Now you're talking 5%, probably a little bit darker. A bit more hazy than what you'd expect from a West Coast kind of beer, but we're talking about West Coast influences here, so let's just give it a whirl, see what the nose has. I mean, very subtle, low ABV kind of West Coasty vibes. Now, it is 5%, so it is low ABV, but even a little bit lower than that. A little bit of nutty graininess, followed by a little bit of sweeter, richer kind of grain, getting kind of Maris Ottery kind of richness. And then you get this little bit of kind of wet tea baggy, subtly, I don't want to go piney, wouldn't even go danky, but has a little bit of those kind of elements kind of flirting around in there as I spill everything. But yeah, it's subtle. It's not over the top. It's not uber aggressive. And like I said, it's 5%. So it's not like it's supposed to be this big 2x4 to the face. But you're talking about a West Coast IPA, 5%. Usually they're a little bit bigger. Let's put it that way. Let's dive in. Cheers. It's not bad, actually. It does come off a little bit small. And that was kind of my nitpick with the previous beer I did from them, the Brown Ale. Is that even though this is 5%, and it's a West Coast IPA, it comes close to very much like a super low-cal, low ABV version of West Coast IPA. Think of, what's that, Two Hearted. They make that Lighthearted Ale, which I think is like 3%. It's more closer to that, probably lower in impact than that, but it has similar kind of vibes to it. So there's that little bit of malt bill, kind of showing its teeth. Kind of leading the way for those hops to come in. Hops come in very much more like tannic tea, like there's a little bit of piney characteristic to it. There's a decent sweetness to it for if it was 3%, but at 5% is kind of appropriate. Mouthfeel is quite nice, actually. Probably a little bit softer than what I expect from a West Coast IPA. So in that aspect, it's kind of opposite end of the spectrum there. But not a bad beer. There's nothing negative to it. Is there a date on it? No date on it. There's nothing negative to the beer whatsoever, but it does come off as a low ABV beer for me. It does come off as a more of like a 3% beer as opposed to a 5% beer. I know you're like, dude, get off it, man. Like you're always like this 7-8% beer drinks like a 5% beer. I know. I do that shit all the time. How when's the last time you heard me say, oh, this 5% beer drinks like 3%? Very few and far between. So what I'm trying to say, its impact level for its ABV is smaller. That is universal across the board, whether you're talking about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11% beers. And this one does come off as, like, I keep jumping in my brain to that kind of lighthearted ale. Has lighthearted vibes, just at a bigger kind of ABV. But like I said, not a bad beer, not a negative beer. There's no off flavor, nothing kind of dastardly going on in the beer. Just a little bit light. So it might actually be one of those beers that a lot of people enjoy. If you're a big fan of West Coast IPA, but you also like, your beers to be a little bit bigger, but drink a little bit smaller. It's almost like there's a lot of people out there that like IPAs that are 10% that drink 5. Well, maybe you want a beer that drinks 5% or drinks like 3%, but it's more like 5%. That's where this one kind of hits wheelhouse. It's just not necessarily for me. That's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum where I usually go for beers, but it's nice. Based off of the other beer I had, that the brown ale, not to keep harkening back to that particular one, it's the only other one I've had out of this series. The reason why I'm referencing it, I like this one much, much better. It's much closer to what I would want from a 5% West Coast IPA than that brown ale was to a brown ale. So that and all, what was the word I was looking for there? Just lost my train of thought, so let's start anew. It's a tasty beer. I just drinks a little bit smaller than its ABV. That's not a crime, is it? You might think it is based off of my reviews, but 'tis what it is. So there you go. A little bit of a phantom up in this piece. Let's talk about it. Is this one of the better West Coast IPAs I've had? It's like, not really. I mean, I don't know if I want to keep it out or put it in. Let's put it in limbo. Value and availability, no idea. Steven, let me know what's what and leave you with if you like what we like this beer. If you like West Coast IPAs, you like a little bit of that new school hazy West Coast thing that comes around because it does have that mouthfeel. It does come off a little bit like that. But if you like that West Coast core, but you want it in a drinkable package, which this one is, then you will dig this. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive. If you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little phantom right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.